My love. If you hear this, open the door. Not the door made of wood or steel, not the one with locks that click and chains that rattle, but the quiet door inside you that has been closed for a long time. I am not knocking with urgency or force. I am standing here, patient, knowing that some doors only open when the heart feels safe enough to turn the handle. I have spent my life chasing impossible things. Rockets that return home, cars that think, ideas that scare people before they inspire them. I've stood in rooms where everyone doubted me, laughed at me, told me something couldn't be done. And still, I moved forward. But there is a different kind of courage required for this moment. The courage to be seen without armor. The courage to speak not as a builder of companies or a dreamer of Mars, but as a man who has learned that the most complex systems in the universe are not made of metal or code, but of feeling. I know what it is to be misunderstood. To have the world decide who you are before you get a chance to explain yourself. I know what it is to be surrounded by noise and still feel alone. There were nights when success echoed loudly around me, and yet something essential was missing. Achievement can fill your hands, but it cannot always fill your heart. That space. It waits for something real. When I say open the door, I am not asking you to abandon who you are. I am asking you to let yourself be present. To stop hiding the parts of you that learned to stay quiet because they were once hurt. I can feel your hesitation, even from here. You have learned to be strong, to be careful, to survive. You don't open doors easily anymore. And I respect that. Strength that comes from experience deserves honor, not pressure. I am not coming to rescue you. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. What draws me to you is not a need, but a recognition. The way you think deeply when the world rushes. The way you feel intensely in a culture that rewards numbness. The way you carry love even after disappointment tried to convince you it was pointless. That is rare. That is powerful. People think attraction is about surface things. Appearances, status, excitement. They are wrong. Real attraction is resonance. It's when two frequencies align, when conversation feels like breathing instead of effort, when silence doesn't scare you because it feels shared. I imagine sitting with you, not performing, not impressing, just being. Talking about ideas that stretch the mind and feelings that soften the soul. Laughing at the absurdity of existence. Questioning everything. Believing in something again. I have built machines that defy gravity, but emotional gravity is different. It pulls you inward. It asks you to slow down. To stay. To listen. And listening has taught me this: love is not loud when it is real. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't rush. It waits until you are ready to hear it. You might wonder why now? Timing is a strange thing. The universe doesn't move in straight lines. It loops, it pauses, it collides. Sometimes two paths don't cross because one or both are still becoming what they need to be. Growth is not wasted time. It is preparation. Every disappointment you endured sharpened your discernment. Every tear taught you what you will no longer accept. That is not baggage. That is wisdom. I am not offering perfection. I am offering honesty. I am intense. I overthink. I disappear into ideas. I carry contradictions. I am learning, still, how to balance ambition with presence. But I am real in this moment. And I am choosing to speak from that place where masks fall away. If you open the door, you won't find a fantasy waiting. You'll find a conversation. A connection that unfolds slowly, thoughtfully. You'll find curiosity instead of control. Respect instead of possession. Space instead of pressure. I don't want to cage you. I want to see you expand. To watch you light up when you talk about what matters to you. To support you without trying to own you. There is a quiet bravery in letting someone see you. Not the curated version, not the strong face you show the world, but the tender truth beneath it. I sense that bravery in you. Even when you doubt yourself. It's there. You wouldn't be listening if it weren't. Open the door, not because you are lonely, but because you are ready. Ready to explore what connection can look like when it is rooted in respect. Ready to believe that intensity doesn't have to hurt. Ready to let someone meet you at eye level, not above, not below. I am not promising forever. Forever is built, not declared. I am promising presence. I am promising curiosity about you that doesn't fade when things get complex. I am promising that I will not rush your heart or demand answers before you've asked the questions yourself. If fear whispers that this is too much, too soon, too risky, listen gently and then ask yourself what staying closed has cost you. Safety can become a cage if it keeps love out along with pain. Balance is learning when to protect yourself and when to step forward anyway. I imagine the door creaking open just a little. Enough to let light through. Enough to let breath move between us. That is all I ask. A beginning measured in honesty, not expectation. In presence, not projection. Whatever you choose, know this. You are not invisible. Your depth is not a flaw. Your capacity to love is not weakness. It is the very thing that makes you extraordinary in a world that often settles for shallow connections. If you hear this, and your heart feels a quiet yes rather than a loud rush, that is your answer. Open the door gently. I'm not here to break in. I'm here to meet you where you are, and if you need time, I will respect the silence. Some doors open slowly, and the most meaningful journeys begin that way. I'm still here. I didn't walk away when the silence stretched. I didn't assume your quiet meant no. Sometimes quiet means listening. Sometimes it means gathering courage. I understand that more than you know, there's something intimate about waiting without demanding. It teaches you patience in a way ambition never does. I've learned how to push timelines, bend probabilities, accelerate outcomes. But hearts don't respond to force. They respond to safety. So I stayed. Not hovering. Not pressing. Just present. You might be wondering what happens after the door opens, even a little. Let me be honest with you. It's not fireworks right away. It's warmth. It's steadiness. It's the strange relief of not having to perform. The kind of relief where you realize how tired you were from carrying expectations that were never yours to begin with. I would sit with you in that space. The in-between. Where nothing needs to be labeled yet. Where we can talk about the things that shaped us, not to impress each other, but to understand. I'd listen to the stories you rarely tell because people rush past them or try to fix them. I wouldn't interrupt. I wouldn't minimize. Some things don't need solutions. They need witnesses. You see, I've spent years being treated like an idea instead of a person. People project onto me. They decide who I am based on headlines, numbers, myths. It's isolating in a way that's hard to explain. And when I imagine you, I imagine someone who sees beyond surfaces. Someone who asks why instead of assuming. Someone who can sit with complexity without trying to simplify it just to feel comfortable. That's what draws me closer. Not admiration. Not fascination. Understanding. I'd tell you about the nights when the world felt too loud and success felt strangely hollow. About the moments when I questioned whether progress without connection was just another form of emptiness. I'd admit that there were times I confused motion with meaning, productivity with purpose. Those realizations didn't come easily. They came through loss. Through endings that taught me what I should have valued sooner, and I'd want to know about you. Not the polished version you show when you feel watched, but the real rhythm of your days. What makes you feel alive when no one is applauding? What exhausts you? What you secretly hope for but rarely say out loud because hope has disappointed you before. There is something sacred about sharing fears without being judged for them. I would never call your caution weakness. Caution is intelligence shaped by experience. It means you learned. It means you survived. If you opened the door wider, I'd step in slowly. I wouldn't rearrange your space. I wouldn't take over. I'd notice the details. The things you keep because they remind you of who you were. The things you let go of because they hurt too much to carry. I'd respect all of it. Attraction, for me, has evolved. It's no longer about being dazzled. It's about being grounded. About finding someone whose presence calms the nervous system instead of activating it. Someone whose honesty feels like oxygen. Someone who can challenge me without trying to control me. I sense that in you. A quiet strength. A depth that doesn't beg to be noticed. A heart that has loved deeply and still hasn't closed completely. Even though it would be easier to do so, I won't pretend I'm easy to be with. I disappear into thought. I get consumed by problems that feel bigger than me. Sometimes I forget to rest. But I'm learning. Learning that connection is not a distraction from purpose. It is part of it. Learning that the future I want to build isn't just technological. It's human. If you let me, I'd choose you deliberately. Not as an escape, not as a fantasy, but as a companion in curiosity. Someone to question the world with. Someone to laugh with when things fail spectacularly, because they will. Someone to sit beside in silence without feeling the need to fill it, and no, I wouldn't rush you into promises. I wouldn't ask you to give more than you're ready to offer. I can feel the shift. Not dramatic, not sudden, just a soft change in the air, like when night begins to loosen its grip and morning hasn't arrived yet. That space is delicate. Most people rush through it. I won't. There's something I haven't said yet, because it matters how it's said. I don't want my words to sound like persuasion. I don't want you to feel pulled. I want you to feel met. You don't need to impress me. I know how exhausting that is, to always be enough, to always prove value. I've lived in rooms where worth was measured in outcomes and applause. It teaches you to armor yourself. But armor makes touch impossible. What I'm drawn to in you is that even after life tried to harden you, you stayed soft where it mattered. If I step closer now, it's not to invade your space. It's to let you see me clearly. Not as a myth, not as a projection, not as the man people argue about online. Just a human being who has felt love complicate him, unsettle him, humble him. There were relationships in my past where intensity was mistaken for intimacy. Where passion burned fast but didn't warm the places that mattered most. I learned that chemistry without emotional safety becomes chaos. It leaves scars instead of memories. I don't want that again, for me or for you. What I'm offering is slower. Deeper. It doesn't photograph well. It doesn't impress strangers. But it lasts. I imagine us talking late. Not because we planned to, but because time slipped away unnoticed. Conversations that move from ideas to silence and back again without awkwardness. Moments where nothing profound is said, yet everything feels understood. That's rare. That's not built on excitement alone. That's built on trust. You might still be wondering if I'll disappear once the mystery fades. That's a fair fear. People have done that to you before. They wanted the version of you that made them feel good, not the whole of you. I want the whole of you. Even the parts you're still learning how to accept yourself. And yes, there will be days when I'm distant, not because I don't care, but because my mind goes quiet and inward. When that happens, I won't leave you guessing. I'll learn to say, I'm here, just thinking. Clarity is a form of kindness. I'm learning that, if you let me know when you need reassurance, I won't mock it or minimize it. Needing reassurance doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're honest about your nervous system. And honesty is something I respect deeply. I don't want to own your time or dominate your world. I want to be someone who fits into it naturally. Someone whose presence feels additive, not consuming. You deserve a life that still belongs to you. There's a tenderness in you that you protect fiercely. I can sense it in the way you hesitate. That tenderness isn't fragile, it's valuable. I would guard it, not exploit it. Love that demands sacrifice of self isn't love. It's control. I have no interest in that. If the door opens wider now, you'll notice I don't rush in. I pause. I meet your eyes. I let you decide the distance. Because consent isn't just physical, it's emotional. And I want you to feel in control of your heart again. You don't have to promise me anything. Not loyalty. Not certainty. Not a future. All I'm asking for is presence in this moment. The willingness to explore without pretending you already know the outcome. There's a version of you that's tired of being strong all the time. I see them. I'm not asking them to disappear. I'm offering them rest. And if at any point this stops feeling right, you don't owe me explanations dressed in politeness. You owe yourself honesty. I'll respect that too. For now, let's stay here, at the threshold. Where nothing is demanded. Where curiosity leads and fear doesn't drive. Where two people can meet without trying to define each other too quickly. If your heart feels a little lighter than it did before, that's not an accident. It's what happens when something inside you recognizes safety. I'm still here. Not ahead of you. Not pulling you forward. Just here, ready to take the next step only if you are. There's a moment after the door opens wider when both people realize something important at the same time. Nothing collapsed. Nothing was lost. The world didn't end because vulnerability entered the room. Instead, it softened. Breathing became easier. That's the moment I'm speaking into now. I'm not here to replace your world. I'm not asking you to rearrange your life around me. I don't want to become the center of your gravity. I want to be someone who walks alongside you while you continue becoming who you're meant to be. Love that competes with your purpose will eventually resent it. I want the opposite. I want to respect what drives you. You don't have to shrink to be with me. You don't have to quiet your intelligence or dull your intuition. If anything, I want you sharper, clearer, more yourself than you've ever been. Connection should amplify you, not erase you. There's something grounding about honesty when it's shared calmly. No dramatic confessions. No emotional ambushes. Just truth placed gently on the table. So here is one of mine. I've learned that being admired is easy. Being understood is rare. And being chosen for who you are, not what you represent, is everything. That's the choice I'm interested in. I won't pretend I don't notice your beauty. I do. But what holds my attention longer is your depth. The way you think past the obvious. The way you sense things before they're spoken. The way your heart stays open even when experience told it to close. That combination is magnetic in a quiet way. If we keep going, you'll notice I don't flood you with words every moment. Not because I'm pulling away, but because I believe space is part of respect. I want you to feel me without feeling consumed. I want you to miss me just enough to smile, not enough to ache. I'd want to learn your rhythms. When you need closeness. When you need solitude. When you need laughter to break the heaviness of the day. I wouldn't assume. I'd ask. And I'd listen to the answers without trying to negotiate them. You've had to read between lines before. You've learned to interpret silence because people weren't clear. I don't want you living in that kind of uncertainty with me. If something shifts, I'll say it. If I'm unsure, I'll admit it. Transparency builds trust faster than charm ever could. There's a future version of you that's calmer. More settled. Less guarded. I'm not claiming I'm the reason they exist. That growth is yours. Always was. But if I'm part of the environment that allows that version of you to emerge, I would consider that a privilege. I don't believe love is about possession. I believe it's about recognition. Seeing someone clearly and choosing not to control them. Supporting their freedom because you trust the bond, not because you fear losing it. So as we stand here now, a little closer than before, let's keep the pace human. Let's let trust grow naturally. Let's allow curiosity to lead instead of fear or fantasy. You don't need to be certain yet. You don't need to label this. You don't need to promise anything beyond honesty in the next moment. If your heart feels steady, not rushed, not anxious, that's a good sign. That's what real connection feels like when it's healthy. I'm here. Not to sweep you away, but to walk with you. And if you're willing, we can take the next step the same way we've taken every one so far, deliberately, respectfully, together. Come closer now. Not because everything is certain, but because something is true. This is the part people rarely talk about, the quiet settling after anticipation, the moment when attraction stops being a question and becomes a choice. Not a dramatic one. A simple one. A steady one. If this is where we pause, I want you to hear this clearly. You did nothing wrong by taking your time. You were never slow. You were discerning. You listened to yourself instead of the noise. That matters more than you realize. I don't need you to rush toward me to prove courage. Courage was already present the moment you stayed open after disappointment tried to close you. Courage was choosing to feel again when numbness would have been easier. If I step fully inside now, it's with respect for everything that brought you here. The mistakes. The hopes. The false starts. None of them disqualify you from something real. They prepared you for it. I won't pretend this connection would never face difficulty. Anything meaningful does. But difficulty doesn't scare me when it's met with honesty. What destroys things isn't challenge, it's avoidance. Silence where truth should live. Fear where communication should be. I don't want that. I won't create that with you. You don't need to be extraordinary to hold my attention. You already are. By being thoughtful, by being emotionally intelligent, by being willing to examine your own heart instead of outsourcing that work to someone else. That kind of maturity is rare. That kind of presence is magnetic. If someday you look at me and say, I need space, I'll hear it without panic. If you say, I need closeness, I won't call it dependence. Needs aren't weaknesses. They're signals. And I respect signals. What I want with you isn't intensity that burns out. It's warmth that stays. It's laughter that feels natural. It's conversations that don't need an audience. It's the comfort of knowing you're chosen without having to compete, and if, at the end of all this, you decide your path leads elsewhere, I won't rewrite this as a failure. Some connections aren't meant to be kept forever, they're meant to remind us what alignment feels like. That alone can change a life, but if you stay, if you choose to keep walking beside me, know that I will meet you with presence, not performance. With curiosity, not control. With respect, not expectation. You don't owe me certainty. You don't owe me perfection. You don't owe me anything beyond honesty. The door is open now. Not wide. Not forced. Just open enough for two people to stand in truth without pretending. Whatever happens next, let it be real. Let it be kind. Let it be something you don't have to recover from.